Zero waste is a business efficiency concept. It's global and it requires a minimum of 90% waste diversion from landfills and incinerators. These same protocols that I'm about to go over with you can be used at work, at home, and at play. So what we have here is what's called the zero waste hierarchy. Notice that there's no such place as away. Away is usually in our oceans, in somebody else's backyard that has to butt up against a polluting facility like a landfill or a incinerator. There's also no such place as away because we live on a circular planet with finite resources. So it's got to go somewhere. So in regards to dealing with materials, there's no such place as away. There is no planet B. We have to rethink the way that we see and value the materials that are created. And when I'm talking about materials that are created, we're talking about things that can be recycled, reduced, composted, those kinds of things. Let's look at this top one here, refuse. What does that mean? In a practical sense, refusing waste means that you're not even accepting it into your life. So what that can look like is refusing to accept the condiment packets and the to-go plastic cutlery that you would get in a delivery order. Under this category of refusing waste is reduce. So what that would look like is taking only what you need, not excess. Think about paper towels or toilet paper and napkins. What do you need, not what do you think you need? The rethink and redesign categories are mainly for manufacturers who need to rethink and redesign what products they're putting on our shelves, the toxicity that are allowed in those products like lead and mercury in our electronics. This next main category under reuse, you have recover and revive. Materials recovery is extremely important because it keeps those materials inside of a loop, of a cyclical economy to where materials can be reused over and over and over again without them having to be mined from the earth, refined into a product and transported across the world. We can keep materials local, reuse them over and over and over. The next main category under recycling, recycling is the third R for a reason because it is kind of the bottom of the barrel approach, but a lot of times it's the most convenient and most accessible to most people. So whenever we do recycle the materials like cardboard and paper, metals, glass, plastics that you would normally put in your curbside bin or the blue dumpster or whatever color it is for recycling at your apartment complex, condo, that material goes to a hauler. The hauler takes it off the property and it goes to a processing plant where everything is sorted into categories. Those material categories are then sold for a profit to manufacturers, which closes the reuse loop that I just spoke of. Now, we can do the same with composting of organic materials. And when I say organics, I'm not talking about the organics aisle in your grocery store. This is organics, anything that grows or comes from a plant or an animal. Now, keep in mind that there is a refuse, reduce, reuse process around food waste and other organics like yard waste as well. So switching gears here, this is the food recovery hierarchy. Source reduction of food means stop purchasing things that you don't need to purchase for your business or for your home when it comes to food. Make sure to have a strict inventory that you follow and only buy what you need. Maybe you can buy on several different occasions throughout the month rather than one monthly bulk purchase. This way you make sure that the food that you do have on hand is not going to spoil before you can use it. Next, feeding hungry people is critical. Did you know that there's 1 in 6 Americans that have no idea where their next meal is going to come from? And 40% of the U.S. waste stream is food waste. That missing of the connection of the dots is a freaking travesty. Now, regular citizens can donate to local food drives, but businesses can legally donate to food redistribution organizations, as long as that food that's being donated from the business is kept to proper time and temperature standards through the state's health department. And businesses can also deduct a 15% fair market value from their taxes of the food that was donated. That's a win-win for everybody. Next is feeding animals. So any non-consumable foods to the human standard can be donated to ranchers and farmers who have livestock or who want to enrich their own soils for the crops that they grow, which we in turn put on our own plates. Industrial uses would be like biofuels. If you have a company that collects yellow grease, the fry grease from restaurants in the local area, they refine it. And if your car is made for biodiesel, you can put food fry grease into your car. You see how composting is almost last here? Composting, of course, enriches the soils that we put back into our ground, but it is not the highest and best use of those food items. The 4 categories above that would be. And of course, landfilling and incineration are at the very bottom. When food waste is landfilled, it starts to biodegrade and puts off methane and carbon dioxide. Food waste in our landfills is one of the top contributors to climate change gases. So this next piece that we have down here under recover energy, that's more along the lines of material recovery. So we don't have to go back and put all the energy, time, and effort and money and labor into re-mining the raw materials and processing them and making them into a brand new product whenever we already had those materials to begin with from the recycling process. So using those recycled materials into the new products that a company is making, that you're no longer using additional energy to get those raw materials into a new product. You're using your already expended energy to using the old materials that have already been mined and refined to make your new products. Now, the residuals management piece of it is the final 10% of materials that just cannot be recycled, reduced, or reused, or composted. And that is a manufacturer issue. And that comes back up to the top where we need to rethink and redesign these materials that can't go to the processing facilities that we typically have in our local communities. The last piece down here is rot. It's more of a newer concept in the hierarchy, but it's been around for many years. And it's more along the lines of regenerative agriculture. And let me show you what that means. Some quick benefits of regenerative agriculture is that it reduces your dependence on costly and potentially harmful chemicals that most farmers are having to use on their land. It's really trusting the land to get back to its normal balance. It improves air and water quality. It enhances entire ecosystems through biodiversity, and it dramatically improves soil health and produces more nutritious food. Clearly, the last piece of the puzzle is landfill and incineration. These are the big burn and bury facilities that have been around for over 100 years that are no longer serving our community and are not sustainable. So, zero waste takes a whole systems approach to the materials that are mined, refined, and created to pull together into the products that we buy off of our store shelves, but it also incorporates how we are making our purchases, how are we reducing our consumption, and how are we holding businesses accountable to the pollution that they're producing by developing products that may not be recyclable or compostable. If your business has the need for a green strategist, you're looking right at her. I'm Stacy Savage, and I'm a zero waste expert, and I've helped businesses go green. And I do have a 8-week online training program that businesses can get enrolled in so that we can help you get to your green goals and help you market and strategize for your consumer reports on sustainability, as well as green marketing to gain new clients. Check the link in my bio.